So the 28th greater sin becomes it's called ta'arub. Ta'arub ba'da hijrah. So ta'arub ba'da hijrah means to after migration to go back to your old ways, or it's basically to become like a Bedouin again. But we'll explain it, and it'll make more sense if we explain it. There's not just like one word that can encapsulate that meaning. So let's see here. In Usul Kafi, under the chapter of greater sins, that according to the Sahih of Ibn Mahbub, he wrote a letter to Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, and he replied that this sin was included among the greater sins. Also, Muhammad ibn Muslim quoted Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that this is greater sin. Also, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says becoming it's called the ta'arub after hijrah and polytheism is one and the same sin. So what does this word mean? Ta'arub ba'da hijrah. It refers to those Bedouin or Baidoun Arabs, those ones who were ignorant of religion. They lived in the desert, and they were ignorant of the religion, and they were ignorant of their wajibat, and they didn't know a qa'id, they didn't know a fiqh, they didn't know anything. So they were ignorant of all these things that were dealing with religion. And hijrah, it means that these desert Arabs would migrate to the city center. For example, they would go to Medina and accept the Islam at the hands of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or, for example, one goes to Kufa in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and accepts Islam, and then they would learn the religion and learn what they needed to know and practice those things. So becoming ta'arub after hijrah is the condition when the Baidoun Arab, before he gets the necessary knowledge that he needs. So he wants to become a Muslim. He becomes a Muslim, but he doesn't know anything. And before even learning anything, he turns back to the old ways. So when a person becomes a Muslim, they need to learn what is halal, what is haram, at least the basics. They need to know about tahara, najasa, wudu, ghusl, salat, saum, these things that they need for day-to-day life. So it would basically be saying that I live in the we say like the boondocks, like the country, way out in the middle of nowhere. And there's no Muslims, everybody disbeliever. And I heard about Islam. I want to go learn about Islam. So let's just say all the Muslims are in the big city that is near me. And we'll just say that we need to go to, for example, Chicago, and say, okay, all the Muslims are in Chicago. So I need to go to Chicago and learn about Islam, and learn what I need to do. And then I can go back to my place. But I just abandoned that, and I don't learn what I need to do, and I go back to my place without knowing anything. This is a greater sin, because you are responsible to learn and to know. And then if we don't know and we don't learn, then we are just piling more things on us due to our own negligence. So in the early period of Islam, it was wajib upon them to migrate toward the Holy Prophet in order to learn whatever was necessary for being a Muslim. Similarly, it was prohibited for Muslims to stay in an area populated mostly with disbelievers, where it was not possible for them to pray and fast and perform other religious duties. Obviously, it's against logic to migrate from a place you are safe and able to practice religion freely to a place where it's forbidden for you to practice religion at all. So it's prohibited to do that. We need to have freedom to practice religion and these things. We cannot go to a place where they hate Muslims and they want to kill Muslims, and we want to migrate to that place. It says, we hear in Tafsir Minhaj al-Sadiqeen, there were some people amongst the Muslims like Qais ibn Walid who were outwardly Muslims. They said the Shahadatain, but in spite of this and their ability to do so, they did not accompany the Muslims in their hijrah from Mecca to Medina. And when the Quraysh of Mecca marched to attack the Muslims in Battle of Badr, these people also went with them, and they were killed at the hands of the Muslims. And there was a Quranic verse about them. Surely, as for those whom the angels cause to die while they are unjust to their souls, they shall say, in what state were you? They will say, we were weak in the earth. And they shall say, was not Allah's earth spacious, so that you could have migrated? So these it is whose abode is the hellfire, and it is an evil resort. So author says this verse makes it clear the fact that it is the duty of a Muslim to leave the place where he cannot adhere to his faith and rituals. Also, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, one who migrates from a place to another for the sake of religion, even if it is only as far as the distance of span of a hand, Allah makes Jannah wajib on him, wherein his companions will be Ibrahim and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It says, except the Quran says, except the weak from among the men and the children who have not in their power the means, nor can they find a way to escape. So these, it may be Allah will pardon them. Allah is pardoning, forgiving. For example, we have people that are, being attacked for their religion, and they want to leave, but they can't leave. They are we look at the situation, for example, in Philistine. Maybe some people want to escape and go to another place where they can practice their religion freely, but they can't leave. They're not allowed to leave, and they don't have the means to leave. So in this case, it's not wajib on them to leave because they don't have the means. So they don't have the ability to do it. And you cannot be held accountable for something you don't have ability to do. We have narration that many of the Meccans who embraced Islam were not capable of migrating to Medina. But when the Quranic verse deploring such people was revealed, they became aware of it. One of these people is Junda ibn Zumra. He told his sons, he said, okay, I have got very old, I'm sick, I'm not helpless, but I don't want to be of those people who were deprived of making hijrah for the sake of Allah. I have a little bit of power left, a little bit of strength. I think I can make it to Medina. I fear that maybe I'm going to die and I won't make it to Medina, and I never made hijrah, and it will affect my religion. So pick up the bed that I'm on and start to carry me towards Medina, just a little ways. And then they saw that the death was coming for their father. So the father kept his right hand on his left hand, and he said, "Oh Allah, this hand is for you, and this for your messenger. I pledge allegiance to you for those things that your messenger has pledged." And then he passed away in this state. And when the news of his death reached Medina, some of the Sahaba, they said it would have been better if he had reached Medina. In this way, he would have gotten the thawab of Hijrah. But Allah revealed this verse about this occasion, Surah An-Nisa, ayah 100. Whoever migrates or goes in the way of Allah, he will find in the earth many places of refuge and abundant resources. And whoever goes forth from his house, migrating to Allah and his Prophet, then death overtakes him. His reward is indeed with Allah, and he is oft forgiving, oft merciful. So we see that this shows the importance of intention, importance of one's niyyah, because he just had the intention to go towards Medina, and he died in that way. And this verse, it says, and whoever goes from his house, migrating towards Allah and his messenger, and then he dies on that way, his reward is indeed with Allah, and Allah is oft forgiving, the merciful. So it goes to the intention, because he didn't make it there yet, but his intention was to go make that hijrah, and his intention was to go to Medina. So we have hadith from Imam Bakr alayhi salam that says, on the day of resurrection, people will be assembled together according to their intentions. So it's based on our intentions. And give you like a story to put this into perspective. It always stuck with me. One of the elder brothers told it to me when I was younger. It's just a moral story, but it puts the intention in a good perspective in a way that we can remember it, inshallah. So he said there's two men. One guy, they both in their house, they live close to each other, they see each other, they know each other. One of them, he's religious man. He does all his wajibat. He prays and he fasts and he gives zakat and he does hajj and he goes to masjid often. All of these things. He does everything. And then the other man, he doesn't believe in Allah. He doesn't do any religious things. All he does is party and drink and all the haram things you can think of. He does those things, right? So one day the disbeliever woke up. He woke up that morning and he said, you know what? I'm tired of living like this. I don't want to live this life anymore. I'm going to go to that believer's house. He's always telling me you should come learn about religion and come to the mosque and all these things. I'm going to go over there today. I'm going to change my life and I'm going to take that path. I'm going to go believe in Allah and learn about my religion. So he sets out of his door, out of his house, and he starts to head towards the house of the believer. The believer woke up that morning and he said, you know what? I'm tired of praying all the time. I pray all day long. I wake up early in the morning and pray. I'm fasting. I'm doing all these things. I'm going to Hajj. I'm tired. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm just tired. I think, finally, I've done all these things, all these good things, but I think I'm done with this. And I'm going to go live the life like the disbeliever. I'm going to go to his house tonight. I know he has a party and drinking and drugs and all the other things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to that party tonight and forget all this religious stuff. So they both set out on their way, going towards each other's house. And then they both died on their way. What do you think happened based on their, happened to their souls based on their intentions? It's an interesting thing to think about. And, one can go to sleep a kafir and wake up a mu'min, and the other can go to sleep as a mu'min and he can wake up as a kafir. So it's very important to always pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he gives us a good ending on the path of Islam, on the path of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhi wasalam. This is the most important thing that we can do, is pray for a good ending. Because it doesn't matter a lot of time the way the person is, they could live their whole life good, but their ending turned bad. And they could live their whole life bad, and their ending turns out good. It depends on the ending of the person. We want to always make sure that we remain on the good path. We even see that people who were wakil of imams, they were good with one imam, and then when the next imam came, they rejected that imam. They were good. They were representative of Imam Qadim alayhi salam. But when Imam Rida alayhi salam came, they said, no, we don't accept him. And we don't want to give him the homes that we have. And we reject the eighth imam. They were wakil. Imagine a rank of a wakil of imam. How good they must have been. And then later, they turned on the next imam and became disbeliever in the next imam. So we have to always pray that Allah never lets us return, turn away from the deen and go toward disbelief. There's a good ayat in Quran for that, dua, Surah Al Imran, I think ayat 7 or 8. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَّدُنكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Oh Allah, don't let our hearts deviate after you have guided us, and bestow your mercy on us. Very verily, you are those who bestow mercy. One of the good dua in Quran to read in Qunut or after Salat. So we will stop here, inshallah, and we'll finish this chapter in the next session next week, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma
اللهم صل على
ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Okay, so